Today on the show, Catholic subscriptions, Great Dad Saints, you're pro-life. So now what? Our picks of the week and so much more. The Catholic Underground starts right now. It is indeed time for the See You Weekly, the podcast that tries to look for the good, the true, and the beautiful and bring it to you with the topics that matter. It's episode number 398. I am Father Chris Decker. Joining me this week, we've got Kathleen Lee, the Executive Directress of the Woman's New Life Center.
Oh, yes, I like that.
You like that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Kathleen's back from her sojourn at the beach.
Yes, I'm back. Couldn't get rid of me that easy.
No, the beach could not hold you.
No.
You would not want to get rid of
basically because I'm too pasty to stay there. So.
And if the beach could hold you, it would have been quicksand, right?
Yes, yeah.
Also, Olivia Gulino, student of life, our resident Italian food critic, and the one who brought us cake today.
I did.
Yeah.
Cake and wine.
Welcome,
Yes.
Olivia.
Yay.
And not just because of the wine and cake,
But a lot because
But that's part of it. I understand. This is okay.
we probably should go up to space, to the Jeff Star 1 near Earth orbit satellite, to Jeff Blackwell. He's our technical director, and he may have stolen a piece of that cake through the hyper-pneumatic tube.
Absolutely, it's delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Ed Ball has returned from his sojourn as well, and he is in the renamed Cotton-Ball pit. Because Kieran Cotton switched the show last week.
Yes.
And Ed Ball is back there now.
So
Although at the end of the show, you did marry Kieran to Ed.
No, sorry, Ed. I did talk to Jeff, Kieran's wife.
Oh, wow.
It's 2019 now.
is
Kieran's
devolving.
husband.
yes.
Look at me so red.
Oh my heavens!
And that's
you're
our
blushing.
show,
That's
folks.
the first time I've ever seen Father Chris blush.
Man, that's quite a blush too.
Yeah.
Yeah, just blame the wine. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, see, I can't find my way out of this. So anyway, Jeff said, "Saw what you did there with my wife." And I was like, "Well, they make a good couple, Ed and Kieran. So I hope they're very happy forever in the cotton ball pit."
And
Anyway,
they've been friends for years.
they have been friends for years. That's how it starts.
Oh, my gosh.
Folks, we're just going to go ahead and do a little program now.
I love this so much.
Maybe my skin tone will return to a normal shade.
I hope not. We just need to find other ways to make him blush.
Oh, yeah, well.
Challenge
if
accepted.
anybody can.
Challenge
Olivia and
accepted.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Backchat at CatholicUnderground.com.
One of the things that always makes me blush is when I get something in the mail.
Yep.
And actually, I have never tried any of these before, but there have been a few subscription services that I have partaken of. One is like an art box. So I've tried it out for a year, and you get art supplies every month, and you make something with the art supplies, and then you're encouraged to put them on your social media and that sort of thing. And they're, boxes for everything now, right? So like if you can't dress yourself in the morning, there are boxes for that. Which I thought about doing, but the issue is, first of all, priest salary,
Right.
and number two, I pretty much wear the same thing.
You need like one new outfit a month.
Yeah,
Like, what's your style? Black?
That's right. With
spots of
a
white.
dash of white.
one spot.
Yeah, and of course I realized that I don't have a whole lot of civilian attire, but the civilian attire that I do have is pretty much frozen from college. So like I have jeans. I have khakis like everyone does.
Khakis?
And
I've never seen you in khakis. I've
no,
seen
you
in
won't. You
jeans.
won't if you're lucky
Right.
because I'm not in college anymore.
And you don't work at Best Buy.
I also do not that you know of. Yeah, and track pants, right? Who doesn't have a pair of those? So
I don't have
but
a pair.
no. Well,
So comfy.
so there are all of these things for your various lifestyles. Well, what about for the Catholic? Apparently,
There must be some.
yeah, Jim, our managing editor, who is in Washington, D.C. with his family, I think it was a school trip kind of thing, said you guys might want to talk about some Catholic subscription boxes that are worth checking out. And so they're kind of news to me. Had we had a little more lead time, we might have been able to actually get them to send us the Catholic box. We might do that anyway, actually, and for picks of the week. But anyway, so the first one is called Feast Day. So think of Feast Day as a pilgrimage in a grocery bag. It all started when a guy named John Hart came across a recipe for St. Martin's goose in a Slovenian cookbook.
As one does.
As one does. I mean, I don't know about you, but I look through cookbooks of the Eastern Bloc countries all the time.
For geese, especially.
For geese, especially.
I have seen some geese at the pond.
I-
I've wondered how to prepare them for my next gathering.
I'd start with geese and work my way to other fowl that can be consumed. And so he came across this recipe, and since that moment, he's been captivated by rich Catholic traditions around the globe. And so he delved into research about these traditions, and as we know, there are more saints on the calendar than we really possibly can list. Although the church tries, So I mean, the new calendar that was revised in 1969 kind of pared that down a good bit, but the extraordinary form calendar has saints and saints and saints, and then on top of that, you have saints that are not on the general Roman calendar, but then are particular or saints particular to an area. That's really kind of a beautiful thing. So he discovered a lot of saints and feast days that he didn't know of. And elsewhere in the world, people celebrated a lot of these feast days with delicious foods, because we're Catholic, and traditions. And so he held on to the hope of using this knowledge in some way to help others bring the faith and the beauty of the liturgical seasons into their everyday lives. And so indeed he did. During the 2018 Lenten season, an idea began to form, a subscription box, because there's a kind of nouveau. And it's kind of a Catholic grocery started to take shape. So the first feast day box was sent out on October 1st. And so the feast day box had cod stuffed piquillo peppers for Lent, a hot cross buns mixed to make on Good Friday, baked koulourakia for Easter, which I don't know anything about, and an Our Lady of Grace water fountain holy water bottle. Ooh. So there's some little sacramental things in there, as well as these foodstuffs. It says the bags regularly contain food items that are all ready to eat or easy to prepare, which is perfect if you're running short on time and meal prep. The bags start off at $20 per month for the movable feast option. That's actually where movable feast comes from, or the feasts of the church here that move on the calendar and aren't always on the same day.
I got you, yeah.
Right? So like Trinity Sunday is always it's always the Sunday after Pentecost. Right. A movable feast might be like the Feast of the Sacred Heart moves the date, but not the time on the calendar. And then, Ascension's probably a low-hanging fruit there.
Right.
Ascension, you can either be on Thursday or Sunday. Right. So anyway, you didn't need to know that.
Of course you did.
What's the price? The most expensive box is the Solemnity, which is $80. And you can sign up on their newsletter and get a 10% off discount code. We'll put that in the show notes and everything. The second one is the Mass box. Research shows that as many as 90% of learning for kids under second grade is kinesthetic, right? So hands-on.
I believe that.
Ashley and Raymond started the Mass box as a solution for families to get hands-on with Bible and Mass prep.
Yes.
So again, very simply, Ashley and Raymond, with their children, a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old, Claire, Dominic, and Joseph. They struggled with their kids to get their kids to behave at Mass, let alone to get anything, to put themselves into it, right?
Right.
And so they actually spent some time preparing with their kids for Mass in an age-appropriate way. And they said that it was far more meaningful. There were fewer meltdowns.
Yes.
And they said that crafts were especially useful, but they didn't have time to come up with a craft and get all the materials and everything. And so they started to provide the ability for other people to do this. And so the Mass box has hands-on crafts that are themed to the Mass readings, a weekly magazine discussing the scriptures of the week, and fun videos with how-to webisodes for every craft. So think of it like a vacation Bible school in a box, right? The box starts off at $12.95, and parents can add craft kits, how many littles you're preparing for Sunday. The four-child full Mass prep kit is $69.95.
Okay.
That's awesome. I found when teaching students, when you sat down with them and said, okay, this is why we say this one part of the Mass.
Right.
They tune in. And I think that we do a disservice to our kids when we're like, if we could just get through Mass, they'll never understand it. So just, if we can
just try to be quiet during the consecration.
Yeah, they get it, man. You just got to put it in a way that they can understand.
That's exactly right. And I like the idea of that kinesthetic kind of thing. Like, little Billy cannot go up into the sanctuary.
Right.
Nor should he, please. It's but he can in the home kind of experience some of the things that you're going to witness. In fact, a lot of parents I've known, I say a lot, some parents I know have gotten kind of an age-appropriate Montessori style mass kit. We featured it on the show, so they can hold a little chalice and see what it's about. And that does it. Apparently that seems to kind of stave off some of the meltdowns, things like that. And I like the idea too of, a lot of people would say, well, $70, gosh, $70.
Yeah.
But think about the things that we spend money on,
Right.
and what's important to us. It's nothing for a parent to drop a large sum on like a summer camp or something like that. And so maybe to think of this in that vein a little bit as an opportunity to.
Well, and like in the moment, I always kind of look at the pain on parents' faces when like their child is just having a rough time in mass, and like you kind of look on their face and it's like that parent would pay $70 right now.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like
that's right. For,
gladly and willingly, just to be able to like give their child something constructive and to be able to pay half attention in mass.
That's right. There's another one called a Little Catholic Box. It strives to create meaningful gift boxes to help their subscribers deepen their faith and to discover new products while supporting small Catholic businesses, which is a really cool thing. Also to support Catholic artisans and religious orders. Liz and Jim first met in college. Liz was Catholic but struggling to make it to Mass. Jim was a convert, was excited about his faith, and they said that their first date consisted of driving an hour for pizza and then seeing the movie Thérèse, the story of Thérèse of Lisieux.
Wow.
And so that kind of set off not only their own relationship, but using Thérèse of Lisieux's example of being little. They say they're not a large company, but they hope that their little box will be an extra push towards a deeper faith for those who receive it. So past boxes have included saint quote pencils, Bible verse zipper pouches, prints from Catholic artists, booklets and rosaries and Catholic food products. The Little Catholic Box offers one box with 3 different subscription plans, so you can save money based on how long you subscribe, and the prices range from $67.50 to $75 a box, depending on the subscription choice. So,
Nice.
Yeah. Saint of the Month is another one. If you like saints, then Patrick is a lifelong Catholic who grew up in a rural part of Colorado where he was captivated by the stars at night, and he thought about joining a lay religious movement, maybe becoming a priest. And as he went into formation, he grew more and more in his faith, of course, than any other time in his life, and he wanted to be a saint. And so after a lot of fruitful time in formation, he decided to return home, hoping to one day get married. Being inspired by the saints, he decided to found a business that helps people become little saints. And so each box contains a list of goals aimed at helping you to grow in a specific virtue. So, for example, you might be asked to write a poem and to share it with subscribers. Also included are unique gifts that might include candles or home decor or motivational or devotional items. And the cost on those ranges from $8 to $44, depending on what plan you select. And then finally, the Catholic T-shirt club, because who doesn't like a T-shirt?
I love T-shirts.
Unfortunately, my housekeeper in my previous parish came to me one day and sat me down like mom to son style. And she said, Father Chris, if you buy any more T-shirts, she says, they're all wonderful. They're all, they're all cute. But if you buy any more T-shirts, there's nowhere to put them. I said, you're right. You're right.
Aw. See, that's a very rational way to explain something.
But I still bought more T-shirts.
Of course, yeah. Well, that we all knew that was the conclusion, but
Although
she tried.
I will say that I buy less kitschy T-shirts nowadays because I wear them under my cassock, so I'm the only one who reads them as I'm putting my shirt on in the mirror and then covering it up with my cassock or my clerical shirt.
You know what it is.
But I chuckle at it, right? Yeah. So the Catholic T-shirt club preach the gospel at all times, right? Use shirts when necessary.
Yes,
I like you. With this, you'll get a subscription box and discounts on past shirts. There's also a Facebook group of Catholic shirt lovers.
Nice.
You choose your T-shirt size, and then with a monthly subscription, you get a never-before-seen Catholic T-shirt with holy cards and medals and gifts. Each item in your box expands on a featured saint. My goodness, I did have a little sip of wine before. Olivia brought strawberry wine.
But you've had a Sazerac before and been fine.
That's true. I don't know.
It's just a sip, too.
It's strawberry wine, folks.
Sorry. Yeah. Anyway, so you can
Straight out the
subscribe
cooler.
for $24 a month. You can bump your subscription up to include 3 to 4 Catholic gifts for $29 a month. And then there's an option for the Little Saint box, which includes children's sizes too.
Cute.
So if you want child saints, you can do that, right? Yeah. The month for June is Maximilian Kolbe, St. Maximilian Kolbe. So there you go. Those are some different options if you're looking to kind of grow your faith in a unique way, a way that maybe hasn't ever been thought of in your home before. This would be the way to do it. So Catholic subscription boxes is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of the things that you can always subscribe to, of course, is our show. We are the Catholic Underground. Yep, we sure are. And you are listening to the Catholic Underground. We're online at catholicunderground.tv. I am Father Chris Decker, joined by Kathleen Lee, Olivia Gulino. Jeff Blackwell is in space. And also our picks of the week are coming up. But first, we thought we'd talk a little bit about a day on the calendar here, wherever you're listening to us in the future or in the past. It's Father's Day right now.
Yes, it is.
And so we thought we'd take a look at a timely article that also is kind of timeless too. Philip Kozlowski over at Aletheia has an article about saints who are also great dads.
Yeah, and I like that it's coming on. I don't know. I like the way that they pick things that are very real and relatable.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like spiritual things, because they don't over spiritualize, but they make things very real at the same time. So the first one, and I was like surprised going through this list, like, wow, they really went with like some hipster saints. Like I had to do some reading and be like, who is
Twitter
this
is awash
person?
in some of this folks because they are, as you say, they're hipster saints.
And Twitter is nothing but hipsters.
That's true. It appears that way.
Yes, I mean, anyway. So the first one is Blessed Charles or Karl of Austria. So don't know who that is. But
I do.
was
My medieval history
course you
professor, I think, like knew him or had family members who knew him.
How?
He's very old.
Okay. All right. So he was immortal. That's cool. But Blessed Charles or Karl, he was the last emperor of Austria. I mean, I guess that's possible for your
he was, in fact. Yeah, that's right. So
for
whenever
your professor to know him, I guess.
Yeah, when the Austro-Hungarian Empire was effectively kind of dissolved in the midst of World War II, right?
Yeah,
In the lead up to World War I, and then throughout there really wasn't much of it left by the Second World War.
Yeah.
But anyway, this ain't the History Channel. It's the Catholic
I'm
Underground.
just trying to rationally think through how could he have known. Anyway.
Yeah, I think his grandfather or his father and grandfather knew the royal family somehow.
Very cool, because there's not many emperors left.
Because he spoke about Blessed Karl's wife a lot, Princess Zita.
Princess Zita, which is also a fabulous name.
Yes,
so anyone
please.
looking for hipster Catholic names for your children, Zita. But he was a husband, he was a family man, and he was very loyal to his wife, who was also a princess. And they have it on record that Karl told Zita when they got married, now we must help each other attain heaven.
Which, by the way, is the goal of marriage, not
the
just
entire point.
not just procreation, right? All of that itself is an image of trying to get to the point where you present your spouse to Jesus.
That's right. Climbing the mystical mountain together.
As it is. Yeah.
And he was also very devoted to the Blessed Mother, and that was apparent on his wedding band. He had an antiphon in Latin inscribed, Sub tuum presidium configimus sancta Dei genitrix, which just means we take refuge under your protection, O Holy Mother of God.
And the Sub tuum presidium is an ancient prayer. Was one of St. Maximilian Kolbe's favorite prayers as well.
Oh yeah, because he loved him, the Blessed Mother.
It's true. So
imagine
that being your wedding band.
Yeah,
right?
and the fact that he's also like a political leader. He's an emperor. He has an empire to run, but like he is very focused on like I know what I'm here for, and I know what my purpose is.
It's funny, Blessed Karl, whenever he was a kid, he was well known for being very, very devout. He knew all the prayers a typical Catholic youth would learn. He loved praying them. He really loved the Rosary. He liked making pilgrimages to Marian shrines. And as a young child, he was so concerned about the poor and the needy that he did odd jobs around the home to earn money to give to them.
Wow.
I mean, I can't even imagine as a young child that being part of like, what can I do with my allowance?
Yeah.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
I think the capacity is there, though. Like, even, like, you know, he wanted to make pilgrimages to Marian shrines. Like, I think about Blessed Carlo, can't remember his last name, the 15-year-old saint who, like, cataloged all the
the Eucharistic miracles. Yeah.
Acutis, something like that is his last name.
That's it.
But I mean, he died when he was 15.
That's true.
You know, so he spent the majority of his childhood doing something so beautiful. And I think it, like, you know, Blessed Carl too, it has that kind of natural affinity of a child to just be curious. You know, we just want to be curious. And so, like, what can we be curious about? Good things. You know, and the same with, like, helping to focus attention in mass. Like, it's not just like we were talking about earlier, like, it's not just to get their attention and make them be quiet, but or, like, you know, anything will do, but like, no, these are good things. Like, you should really, like, focus your energies on this, and, like, whatever curiosity you have, like, let it grow.
Right.
So I love that. But yeah, so I mean, he was, like we said, like, also running an empire. And if you know anything about, like, history, that usually involves lots of, like, war and conflict and all that kind of stuff, and you know, opportunities to be vicious, opportunities to be malicious to other people, to people in your own kingdom, to throw people under the bus, whatever. But even in the midst of all the stresses of running an empire and trying to do it virtuously, he never forgot his family.
Yep.
They were, the royal family, they were once exiled from the throne.
Yeah, in 1919, by the way. In 1919,
yeah. And so he wept for his people, but he also said that it was like a providential time for his family. This is a quote. He said, his only consolation in losing his throne was the fact that he could spend more time with his wife and family. Like, that's someone who knows what his purpose is. Yeah. Like, oh, wow, this awful thing has happened. That's irreversible, pretty much, at least in my lifetime. So, but you know what? Yeah. I get to spend more time with my wife and family, and that is awesome.
One of the interesting things, too, is that he also, I mean, he went from being the emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. After the overthrow in 1919, he lived in poverty. They didn't have any of the comforts that they did, and yet he bore that as well as illness very well. He died in 1922.
Yeah. Oh. And actually, on his deathbed, it said of him that he prayed for all of his children by name, and one of his frequent prayers was, "Look after my little ones, let them die rather than commit a mortal sin. Keep them in body and soul."
That's a dad.
That's a dad. Ooh, that's a dad right there. Another dad is King Louis IX. So if you're familiar with like South Louisiana culture, and you've ever been to St. Louis Cathedral in New Orleans, that's the King Louis that we're talking about. He was the King of France from 1226 to 1270. So nice substantial reign. And he actually, you know, he is also known as like a family man. Like he's pretty well known for how he treated his family and the love he had for his wife in a time when, you know, loving your wife really was kind of an option. But he was also very insistent and well known for raising his children in virtue. And that's evidenced by some letters that he wrote. And one of them he wrote to his son, and he said, you know, "My first instruction is that you should love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your strength." So echoing what we hear in the scriptures. And he says, you know, "If the Lord has permitted you to have some trial, bear it willingly and with gratitude, considering that it has happened for your good. And that perhaps you well deserved it."
Now that's also a dad thing
that's
to
a dad
say,
thing,
right?
Yeah.
Is that if you're permitted to bear a trial, bear it willingly, bear it with gratitude, because it would perhaps has happened for your good, and also maybe you deserve the consequences of your actions.
Right. And so not like, you know, you suck, like you should, but to we need that kind of check sometime, like, well, you know, like I remember, you know, times growing up when like my parents would help me think through situations, and there would be times when it'd be like, okay, well, like, you know, did you do anything like to make this worse, to bring it on yourself? And like there are some times when that answer is yes, and like it's just part of being human and part of maturing that we have to recognize and be able to say, like, yeah, I screwed up, but and now I have to deal with the consequences, but the first step is being like, well, I did screw up, you know, I have invited this in some way. But he also told him, you know, if the Lord bestows upon you any kind of prosperity, thank him humbly and see that you become no worse for it. either through vain pride or anything else, because you ought not to oppose God or offend him in the matter of his gifts. And I think that's important too, because, you know, like anything, if sometimes if good things happen, we start to think that we've done it all on our own, or, you know, with great power comes great responsibility, right? So like a lot of money, a lot of responsibility, a lot of authority can be abused.
Yeah, like being a king.
Yeah.
Look at this golden calf I've made.
Yeah.
Everybody, let's worship it.
Yeah. So, and then he, you know, he closes with, be kind-hearted to the poor, the unfortunate, and the afflicted. So again, that concern for the other, that concern for those who have less. We have Louis Martin. Louis Martin was Saint Therese's father, and then he and Zélie Martin were canonized together. The first married couple to be canonized together, because their marriage is what made them saints. And he had all daughters. Well, they had 2 sons that died in infancy, but they had all daughters that grew to maturity. And he like doted on them. He had little nicknames for them, and many of them actually ended up entering the convent, including Saint Therese. But yeah, he had all these cute little nicknames for them, like Marie was the diamond, Pauline, who was kind of like a feisty one, and had like some anger issues, but she was like the fine pearl. That's what he called her. Celine was the dauntless one.
Kathleen is also dauntless.
Yeah. I agree with that. She's also good-hearted.
It's a different franchise.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, that's true. But no, she's also good-hearted, like Leonie. And then Therese was the little queen, or bouquet of flowers, perhaps. He was an active father, because for a good portion of their marriage, Zélie was the one who was working, making lace, and he was the one kind of raising the family. And she described him as having a Eucharistic spirituality, that he would give anything and give it 100 times over and never complain if people, you know, like abused him or said ill things of him. It didn't affect him. Yeah. And he just gave to the end for his family. And then there's also St. Augustine that I want to mention, because he was not your typical like family man. He had a son out of wedlock with his mistress. He had a longtime mistress when he was still like a Manichaean.
Which would have been a heretic.
Yes, he was in heresy because he persisted in it. That's what heresy is.
That's right.
But he had a son, and the son's name was actually a Deodatus, which means gift of God. So, you know, you can see God working there. But he never married his mistress, and that's why, you know, he became a bishop. Yep. But in the confessions, you hear over and over about how a Deodatus was with him. They would, you know, he would just mention him like it was casually, like, of course he's here. And they were actually baptized together. So, you know, no matter your situation in life, there's always an opportunity to be a good father, to be a holy father.
That's right. And we will go to break mentioning St. Joseph, of course, the silent father, the beautiful father. We're the Catholic Underground. We'll be right back after this. Hail, Holy Queen, Mother of Mercy, our life, our sweetness, and our hope. To thee do we cry, poor banished children of Eve. To thee do we send up our sighs, mourning and weeping in this valley of tears. Turn then, most gracious Advocate, thine eyes of mercy towards us, and after this our exile, show unto us the blessed fruit of thy womb, Jesus. O clement, O loving, O sweet Virgin Mary. Welcome back. You found the Catholic Underground with me, Father Chris Decker. Kathleen Lee is here. Olivia Gulino abides. Yes. Jeff Blackwell and Ed Ball are up in space. Hey, guys.
Hi.
Also, our picks of the week are floating around in space, but we thought we'd come back down to this planet we call, what do you call your planet again? I'm not an alien. Earth. We thought we'd come back down to Earth for a moment.
10 points for Father Chris.
That's right. I remembered it. It's not Zebulon 4.
No.
And so a lot of folks have seen the movie Unplanned.
Right,
We've talked about it here on the show, and how groundbreaking and really kind of a watershed film this was, because a lot of things were uncovered.
Sure, yeah.
And that has driven a lot of folks to seek, at least, if nothing else, information.
Right.
If not a tremendous conversion of heart and of mind that has taken place.
Right.
And so we thought maybe we'd spend this segment, since you, Kathleen, are now daily in the work of providing alternatives to abortion, alternatives to both men and women.
Right.
We would talk a little bit about that. So, you watch the film. I'm pro-life now.
Right.
I get it. Now what do I do?
Now what? Yeah, and it's very interesting because I think I've mentioned before, but my pro-life journey, now looking back on it to where I started and where I am now has immensely changed in what I've done, what I've believed, what I've, how I've acted towards other people, and I think what's really interesting is people see the movie or they hear about, what abortion actually is and how it's performed, or they hear something in the news about a clinic that is just atrocious.
Yeah.
And there's a great passion that comes out of people. And we have seen that at our clinic. Our clinic is actually right next door to the abortion clinic here in Baton Rouge. And we've seen an outpouring of just people who want to do something. Like, I can't sit at home and do anything anymore. But what's really important, I think, is to prioritize your actions and to widen your horizons, right? Because I remember when I first started, for myself, I was a junior in high school doing a project on abortion. And I didn't really think much of it. I didn't really have a stance.
It was a subject that you had to cover, right?
Right, yeah. So, and I found out that the abortion clinic here in Baton Rouge was literally across the street from my pediatrician's office.
Oh, my.
And I was like, I remember we drove over there as a little small group, right? And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, you can go one way and take care of your child. You can go another way and take care of your child. Yeah. And I was furious. And I was like, who even thinks about this? And who does this? And so,
if you can imagine adult Kathleen's ire, imagine kid Kathleen's ire, which was like 58,000 times more.
Yes, it was. Yes, I was not a very happy camper.
Like the anger guy from Inside Out.
Yes, exactly. And I was like, that's it. All these people are evil and save the babies, right? That is such a beautiful, unbridled passion. But thank God I had people in my life that were like, Kathleen, you really need to think about this. Like, think beyond, and I was like, I don't want to think about, beyond. I know what happens in those doors, and that's it. And I had people who said, okay, number one, you need to bring this to prayer. And that should be our first. I mean, we're going to talk about several ways that you can do that. But number one is prayer for patience, for understanding, for love and charity of all people that are involved. Right? Because I had some really good people that said, Kathleen, why do you think, you grew up in, my parents are still together. I grew up in a pretty upper middle class, family. I went to, Catholic schools my whole life. I know that if I would have gone home and been in that situation, I would have had layers upon layers of support. And they're like, Kathleen, think about what makes women choose this. And I was like, I don't know, because they're evil. And they're like, no, no. Think about it, and then doing this project and getting more involved in it. It was like, man, there's a whole nother world out there that I don't know about, right? So Lord, give me understanding, give me patience with myself, and give me understanding, help me find the right information. Right. So number one, I would say is your first priority should be prayer for yourself, for the situation, for those that are involved.
For an open mind and an open heart to be able to take in that which is true.
Exactly. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, everyone involved is a human being. Right. Everyone involved is a human being. I remember going to the Holocaust Museum one time, and we go there every year for the March for Life, and we compare the two. We talk about what they have in common, and we had gone for, I think, a pre-trip, and we were down getting a tour by a young Jewish man, and he was showing us this new exhibit they had, and they had this picture on the wall of 3 or 4 Nazi soldiers, and it just started to rain, and they had their arms around each other, and they were laughing. And he said, I want you to look at this picture, because Hitler would send his soldiers to a retreat, because he knew what they were doing was so heavy. And he said, I want you to look at these people. He said, they're just people who made horrible decisions, but at the end of the day, they're human beings. And I was like, what? Right? It was such an eye-opening experience. But so number one, pray. Number two, I think it's very, very important because this issue can be very emotion driven, right? You know, on both sides of the fence.
And that's often the face that we see in popular media is just the emotion and none of the ration.
Right. Yeah. And so there aren't that many, you know, outside of our clinic, we have people who are very emotion driven, you know, and it's very evident. But the facts aren't there, you know, and so we need to be educated, right? Or that's this number two. Two, be educated about what is actually going on. What are the laws that are coming up? What are the laws actually saying, right? You can go to places like abortionfacts.com, right? And it'll give you, you know, Louisiana Right to Life. I don't know if they have that in any other, like,
a number of states do have a pro-life wing. That's
and then there's national right to life.
Right. Yeah. If you go, I mean, like if you just go, I know for a fact, if you go to Louisiana Right to Life, they'll give you information on what abortion is, what happens, what actually goes on. You can go. I found a really cool place, a website called checkmyclinic.org, and you can go online because a lot of times, you know, when I look across our parking lot, you know, I look at the abortion clinic and I think, oh, well, horrible things go on in there. And it's like, they may, you know, yes, in my personal belief, but they may run, you know, this is, and I want to say this, taking out my own personal belief. They may run a pretty stand-up clinic, you know, a pretty substantial clinic. But checkmyclinic.org, you can go on and find every report against any abortion clinic in your state. And so I went on, we have 3 here in Louisiana, and I printed out everything because I wanted to be able to say, this is what's going on.
Yeah, this is what they've been reported for. And
this is not the first time they haven't had, you know, equipment to save a life. This is not the first time they've been found, you know, with biohazard material in a place that it shouldn't be, you know, and that's not, I mean, it's just the more that we equip ourselves and the more that we can stand in that information, then, you know, I can say, if I'm arguing with someone, right, that this argument is based on emotion and mine is based on fact. You know, and there's a lot of you can check out the Bioethics Defense Fund or the National Catholic Bioethics Center. There's a lot of work that's being done to point out that this is not just a religious issue, this is not just a personal belief issue, that this is a scientific issue of when life begins. Right. And it used to be that until you were outside of your mother's body, you were not born, you were not alive. And now we're seeing across the United States several heartbeat bills being passed, which you know, doesn't allow abortions after 5 to 6 weeks. And that's incredible. I mean, can you say from like 9 months to 5 to 6 weeks? I mean, and that's based on science. Yeah. And so you can check out all these places.
That's not just emotion. That's science.
Yeah. If you want to know what's going on in the news, if you want, like, you know, I have a lot of friends who check just secular news sites, but you can also check out lifenews.com and it'll give you all the stuff that's going on around the country. And you just want to make sure that when you're checking out these sites, or when you're looking at news about anything pro-life or pro-choice, that you know where that article is coming from, who's writing it, right? Who are they interviewing? What language are they using? Because, you know, I found it very interesting a couple of weeks ago. I was referred to as an anti-choicer. And I was like, really? Because at our clinic, the women who come through our door have every choice in the world. We sit down and we talk to them about, you know, empowering them. Like that's what's interesting. They come into our clinic, right? And we say, look, this is what you were made to do. You know, it may not be the right time, but you can absolutely do this. You know, and if not, here are your options. And we talk to our clients about the reality of abortion. And we say, look, we can't support that, but you know, you need to know all the issues. And that's not always the case when they walk into an abortion clinic.
Right, well, because the society gives so much of just the one option, so to speak.
Well, and I mean, like that, y'all start with seeing him as a person,
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like a person in a crisis.
Right.
And I know, you know, Danielle, who's the Respect Life director in our diocese. And I love what she said about this. And I'll always remember it. She says that, you know, a woman doesn't want an abortion like she wants an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
A woman wants an abortion like she wants to saw off her arm that's caught between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
Like, and we can understand that, you know.
Absolutely.
But it takes putting it in that mindset of like, it's not like she's just freewheeling, like, I think I'll go get an abortion today, you know?
Yeah. You know, it's very interesting. I in my office looks across the way into the front door of the abortion clinic. And I open my window every day. And what you see on the news is not what you see across the parking lot. Right. That's not, there are not women walking through that door, you know, holding signs saying my body, my choice, and throwing a party. I guarantee you these women are so vulnerable, right? And a lot of times in our mind, we see these women who go get abortions as like, oh, it's just like an elective thing, you know? And that's like, that has been a deep impact for me, is to be able to see the reality of what it actually is. And I encourage you, you know, in that same sense to, you know, so one would be prayer, two, get informed, really. And then three, and only three, should be activism, right? Do something about it. Now, you can go out, like, you know, I laugh, but I only laugh because it's very sad. We had some guys, we have sidewalk advocates that come out, and, you know, anybody can come and pray outside of the abortion clinic. And so we get all kinds of characters. And we had these two guys that came from Mississippi, I believe, and they just wound up. I mean, you know.
Emotion.
Right. Very emotion driven. And they were yelling at these poor girls, right? And it was like, you're a murderer, comparing him to Hitler, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end he goes, and I say this because I love you. And I was like, what? That's not what? You know? And so, like, go and be a witness, right? Go and be a prayerful presence, right? But it can be really tricky, because a lot of times, when we're on the front lines, it's like, I got to save something. Right. I got to make the save, right? And in that instance, we stop seeing those women as human beings.
Yeah, and they become objects that I must save.
Yeah.
Rather than people that I must encounter.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me, the movie Unplanned kind of cemented the important role of Saint Joseph, of silence, of standing by, of being present.
Exactly.
You know, and waiting for them to lead, because oftentimes it's been my experience that they're waiting for somebody to talk to, and they've been taught by society at large to don't look over at the people who are quiet. Don't encounter them, because they're going to try to talk you out of something that is so easy. Right. It's not. If it were so easy, then you wouldn't have to be told to don't look at the people who are praying for you silently. You know.
Yeah. So in your activism, one, be aware of your approach, right? Can you just imagine facing the most difficult decision of your life in a public place, and people know exactly what you're doing. They know exactly where you're going, and how would you want to be approached, right? What would attract you to talk to someone? You know, would it be a gentle good morning, you know, or would it be somebody yelling at you, you know, that you're a murderer? You know, so think about your approach. Know where your nearest pregnancy center is. I mean, we're really simple because we're right next door. Right. Yeah. But in your place, in your state, where is the abortion clinic, and where is the nearest pregnancy crisis center, crisis pregnancy center? Because it's not enough to say, don't do that. And that's kind of the argument, right? Because a lot of the pro-choice, you know, argument is that we say, don't kill your baby, period. Right? And there's no, but what do you want me to do? Right? And so we have to be able to say, and you have to be willing, right? If you're going to go out there, you have to be willing to say, I'll drive you there. I know exactly where it is. I'll drive you there. You know, I've known people who have stood outside of abortion clinics, and this is not for everyone. So don't think that I'm telling everyone to go out and do this. But I've had couples who have stood outside and offered to pay for
Uber or a taxi or
Uber
something.
or a taxi,
Yeah.
or will adopt your baby, or I'll take care of your baby, right? Or a lot of that's kind of the thing is they'll pay for the abortion ahead of time. Like I already spent $500. We have people out at our clinic who stand outside on the sidewalk and they say, we'll reimburse you. I will reimburse you for whatever you've paid so far if you walk away. Right. And not only that, but here is a place that's going to teach you how to be a mom, right? How to be a parent. Here are some places that are going to provide you with material support. Our clinic offers free professional counseling, right? Which is like unheard of.
But indispensable.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and you find with these women that they really just need an opportunity to sit down, to take a breath, and to be told you can do this, and here's how I'm going to help you.
Right.
There, so no places like where your nearest pregnancy center is, no, maybe some adoption services that are out there. Catholic Charities has one, and there are many agencies in every city that I know that's something that we're all looking to kind of boost up, right? Is adoption. There are many couples who are waiting to provide homes for children who need it, right? Most importantly, be willing to walk with them after their choice.
Yeah.
And what's most important is be willing to walk with them after their choice, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's hard. When they walk away from you and they walk in that door of that clinic, our tendency is to say, well, I've done what I lost that one.
You can feel like you've lost the battle.
And we say at our clinic, we say it's not our victory and it's not our loss. It's the Lord's. And we do what we can. And what's beautiful about our clinic is we've had women who have come in who have been abortion minded, and they've had they've left, had an abortion, and come back for post abortive counseling because of the atmosphere that the staff at Women's New Life Center cultivates.
Yeah, they felt safe there. They were uncomfortable, but they did feel safe there. And maybe they couldn't really admit it to themselves at that point because it was so charged.
Right. And so in that sense, know about post-abortive resources. Right. There's Rachel's Vineyard. There's Entering Canaan. There might be some local programs that you have, counseling that might be available to women. Because if you can put that on a card, right, and a woman has walked through that door and come out and had an abortion, it's easy enough to say, you might want to hold on to this.
Yeah.
Right. And they may scoff at you. They may, get out of my way. You don't know what you're talking about. But they're going to tuck that card away. Because sometimes 10, 15 years later, these women are just starting to deal with what they've done. Right. So we have prayer, we have be informed, we have advocacy and activism, right? You can also, what's really interesting is we're seeing a lot in the news today about, in New Orleans, they are like 50 restaurants and bakeries in New Orleans are raising money for the New Orleans abortion fund, something like that. Right. And it was like, oh, okay, well, I know who's not on my list anymore.
Right.
There's actually, if you go to Life Decisions International, they list, and they keep a very current list of all the places that support Planned Parenthood. Now, be aware, it's a lot of places that you probably shop at. And so you kind of have to take that to prayer for yourself. You might get so deep in that hole that you just, it's up to you, and you can look at that and say, man, I spend a lot of all I wear is Converse. They're on the list, and you might be called to make another choice, right? No, and this is another thing that I think is super important. Expand your mind on who all is involved in this movement, right?
Or industry, really.
Right, in the abortion industry. Of course, first and foremost, the baby, right, and then the mama, and then we don't think about this, but the dads.
Yes,
man, like. At the clinic that we are next to, they don't let the dads in. They don't let them back. And so I've seen many men sit in their car and lose their minds because what they were meant to do, to protect, to provide, they have no choice in. None. And so these men are dealing with, how they've supported their, their partner in this and what their part in is. And they need help, right? Then you got to pray for the workers at the clinic.
Oh, yeah.
You got to pray for conversion of hearts of the doctors. You got to pray for our legislation, right? But most importantly, again, it's just a bunch of human beings across the way.
Yeah.
They don't have horns growing out their head, and
they were created as fundamentally good as we were, right?
And some of them, many of them, feel very trapped in the industry, right? And so Abby Johnson, who used to work for Planned Parenthood in New Orleans, who Unplanned is the story of her life, she started a ministry called And Then There Were None, and it's a ministry involved in helping those who work in the abortion industry to find other jobs, because sometimes that can be like a black stain on your resume.
Sure.
Right? And sometimes this is the only job they can have, and they're trying to support their own family. So there are things you can participate in, like national movements like the 40 Days for Life, or local and national March for Lives. I think something also very important is encourage a pro-life group in your parish, right? And encourage your priest to talk about it. Because I think that might be something that, I don't know, maybe you can speak to that. We've talked to priests and they say, oh, we don't have, now this is not all priests at all, but, we don't have post-abortive women in our parish.
Oh, you do, baby.
Yeah, you do.
And it is for priests, it's a very difficult topic to broach.
Right.
So I usually talk about abortion with other life issues,
right?
So that because one of the things that oftentimes we'll say is, well, it feels like you're singling certain people out, and I mean, in a sense, it is. It is a very distinct sector,
right.
But it is one of those things too that the priest has to be willing to not be liked, and that's a great danger for us as priests. Is you only want to say things that the people want to hear instead of the things they need to hear.
Right.
And I've spoken of abortion as well, many times throughout my priesthood, and there have been a few times where people have gotten up clearly so that I can see them and turned 180 degrees and walked out of the church.
Wow.
And that's difficult for us as spiritual fathers to see. When you're thinking, I know I've thought I didn't even get to the end of the homily yet. They heard the A word and then that was all that, but it is important, I think, that we as priests continue to make that a part of our preparation, and to say, Holy Spirit, do you want me to say this, right? What do you want your people to hear? That's always my first prayer whenever I prep for a homily. And sometimes that's what it is Christopher, because the Holy Spirit calls me by my Christian name, you need to talk about this today. So I do. Yeah.
Nice.
Thanks, Kathleen, for giving us this big rundown, and that's very good. We'll put all those links in the show notes, by the way, so that you will have them. But one of the things we also want you to have is that part of the show that we like to call
the CU Pick of the Week.
So, Kathleen, you're back. So
I'm back.
Go.
And I have a throwback. It's a modern throwback, though. It's the Fujifilm Instax Mini 8.
Hiya.
So
Yeah,
cute.
so you can hear.
It's a camera, by the way.
Yeah,
if
it's a
you're
camera. And
if you're watching us on the radio, and Kathleen is taking a
So
photograph,
you can take a picture. It comes out the top.
and you can hear it.
Here it goes.
It sounds awesome.
And then you shake it.
Yeah.
And now you would shake it like a. Now, okay, wait.
No.
But it's not. It's a
I
Fujifilm.
took one earlier. Hold on. Wait for it.
Yeah. So if you're watching us on the radio, Kathleen's going to
Don't
attempt
move. Okay, there it
to
is.
show
That's
the picture
us.
Yes, we're so
of
cute.
all three of us.
can't
No,
see
keep it right
Olivia's
where it is.
features
Keep it right where it
because-
is. Yeah.
Love it.
you're
Olivia-
watching us on the radio. Kathleen is attempting to show the
Yeah.
picture
Yes.
to all of you. So
So it's a throwback. It's very fun, and you get cool pictures that you have to take pictures of so that you can post them online.
Right.
Anyway.
But then
Is
he
the film expensive?
No, it's not bad. I forgot how much it is, but it's not.
Okay.
I got like six for six.
six
cartridges.
rolls or six
Yeah.
cartridges.
And you can order it on Amazon,
Oh, yeah.
Walmart. It's pretty widely available.
So you don't even have to think
That's
about the
neat.
money. It just comes right out of your
Yep.
card. And,
Exactly.
That's right.
Like America.
How, what are you spending your card money on these days?
Well, as is right and just, I spend my money on baking things.
Yay!
Which we're quite happy
Yes,
about.
indeed.
Well, and I thought about this as my pick of the week for one reason, a couple of reasons, because a lot of people have asked me lately, like, how do you do this? Like, why is my stuff not coming out, or why is it to this, or whatever? And like, y'all, I'm not a wizard. I have no like special gifts that you don't have. But what I do that a lot of people in America don't do is I bake by weight.
Yeah.
So my pick of the week is a kitchen scale.
Nice.
And I first started using one that I just like found in our kitchen, and like it was really old, but like it still worked. And so and like my kitchen at home with my parents. And now that I'm in my own house, I need my own scale. So I use this one that we'll link to on Amazon. It's about $55. But this one's actually cool because it's good for, anyone who's starting. So you can bake by ounces. Maybe you're more comfortable doing that. Or I do grams. You can also do pounds. Like if you're just like maybe going through some volume. And
I want a large cake, please.
Yeah, or like you're
9
making
pounds.
spaghetti meatballs for people and you're like, I need 9 pounds of meat. Like this will tell you. But it's also cool because it will help you bake using baker's math, which is a way of baking by ratio. So, if you know that you're supposed to have 66% flour, 23% water,
My.
2%.
That's pretty cool. There's a
Salt.
percentage
Yeah.
button on here.
Because that's, a lot of recipes are just by percentage, so you could just scale things up or down as needed. So obviously that's like leveling up. But just first, you can start by baking by weight, and I'll even link to a conversion chart that I use. So if you want to take your recipes that you love now and make them into something that you could use to bake by weight.
This baker's math kitchen scale also has a hinged gunk shield.
Yes,
Ooh.
because the gunk is real.
Yeah.
That's gross.
It'd be
So,
real.
Jeff, what's your your pick of the week?
Yeah, we need to do a show about that. My 2 words: casual chicken.
That's how I like my
okay.
chicken.
Actually, my daughter surprised me with a Father's Day gift of food. Extraordinary.
Nice.
Chicken salad, and it's made by Chicken Salad Chick. But when I found that they were closed on Sundays, I assumed, well, maybe this must be like a franchise of Chick-fil-A. But no, it's not. But I'm telling you, it's a takeout restaurant, serves sandwiches and salads, soups, locations from Ohio to South Florida and Texas to Georgia, mostly the southeastern part of the U.S.
Where chicken is a way of life.
Yeah, 100 stores. Anyway, the recipes are from real chicks, named after family and friends like Olivia's Old South,
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
or Cranberry Kelly, or Jalapeno Holly. So you can figure it out from
Clever.
there. But check them out.
All right. Well, my pick of the week is something I've probably chosen before, but I used it today.
Yes.
And it's also ordination season, so you might be thinking of what can I get the priest who has nothing yet? The Roman Ritual. So this is a 3-volume set of the original Roman Ritual. And volume 3 is the blessing. So like the blessing of a house, the blessing of an electric dynamo, the blessing of a telegraph. It's all in there. The Latin is on one side, the English is on the other. It's a 3-volume set. Usually runs about $150. So if you want an ordination gift for
That's a
your
good
priest, this is a good one. They've
Nice.
been reprinted by Beretta Books. Alrighty, well, Jeff, we're so grateful for those who support our show, aren't we?
Absolutely. And this week, the Catholic Underground is possible because of people like you. Join the growing number of undergrounders at CatholicUnderground.com/donate. An important way to support us is to like us, heart us, star us, and share us on your social media platform of choice. And if you really like the podcast, pop on by iTunes, leave us a review, and click them stars, children.
Yep, our panelists have been Kathleen Lee, the benefactress at Kaylee626 on Instagram. Thanks, Kaylee.
Yes, indeed.
Also, Olivia Gulino is at The Real Dots. OMG, The Real OMG with dots in it. Thanks, Olivia.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jeff's at Jeff Blackwell on Twitter. Thanks, Jeff. You're our tech director.
A pleasure and an honor.
Research assistant, the leader of the crew in the lab is Jim Hayes. Our video and our graphics director is Ed Ball. You know me. I'm Father Chris Decker. You can follow me on the Instagram and on the Twitter at Digital Catholic. We hope we've helped you cut through the noise and find that still small voice. With the Catholic Underground, we're Faith Gone Digital. We will see you next time.
from the Catholic